Hello. Today, you will hear a story about a man's revenge. My childhood and youth were the most ordinary, like most children. Our parents weren't rich, but we didn't really need anything. I had everything I needed. My parents provided me with everything. After school, I entered the institute. My knowledge was enough to enroll in free education. My parents were very proud of me, and I always tried not to disappoint them. I rarely attended high-profile events, unlike my peers. What I liked most was drawing futuristic pictures in my head or watching science fiction films. I liked films that depicted the cities of the future with the most incredible buildings. I would very much like to live in such a city. The profession I chose was directly related to my hobby. I was a designer. Of course, that reality was far from my fantasy. I designed simpler objects in which everything also needed to be thoroughly thought out and calculated. I preferred to spend most of my free time alone. I liked watching this world from the side. I felt like I was out of time. Someone was in a hurry somewhere. Couples in love walked slowly, thinking only about each other. Someone was sad or talking nervously on the phone. And I calmly watched all this as if I easily and imperceptibly touched the fate of these people. But even more, I like to spend calm and quiet evenings on the banks of the river away from noisy companies. Once I was sitting on a bench, peering into the impending darkness of the late evening and enjoying the silence. Suddenly, not far from me, I saw a light from a flashlight. Soon, I saw a girl who was looking for something. I tried not to frighten her and asked if she needed help. The girl, still frightened, twitched. I apologized. She thought number one was around. The girl lost her bracelet. She also liked to walk here sometimes in the evenings, and today, she remembered exactly how the bracelet was on her hand just before she went down to the riverbank. I tried to help her, but we didn't find anything. She thanked me for my help. In confusion, I could not even really get to know her. Ask her name. We just went in different directions. I went home and hit myself on the head with my palm. Idiot, I said out loud to myself. A couple of days later, I was back at that place walking around during a lighter hour hoping to see her again. Somehow, by chance, I turned my head to the side and noticed how something shone not far near the path. I myself did not understand how I could see it here. But it was the lost bracelet of that girl. It exactly fit the description. Now I definitely needed to find this girl. A few days later, the opportunity presented itself to me. I saw her with a couple of girlfriends. I approached and timidly greeted. She did not understand who I was. I reminded her how we were looking for a bracelet together. She remembered, but sadly said that she never found it. I asked her not to be upset and handed the bracelet to her. She was very surprised and delighted, and her friend smiled maliciously and looked at me. This bracelet was given to her by her mother. It was very dear to her, so she was so happy. But now I was not at a loss and asked her name. The girl said her name was Lisa. I anxiously asked if we could still meet and chat. She smiled and agreed, gave me her phone number. Later, we found and agreed to meet. After a string of successful dates, we started dating Lisa. I remember these first romantic moments of meeting Lisa even now, although we have already been married to Lisa for 40 years. This incredible figure approached rather quickly. Time never waited, but quickly ran forward. At the beginning of our relationship, it was difficult to care for Lisa. I wanted to give her expensive gifts and take her to the best restaurants, but I didn't have those opportunities. And for Lisa, I noticed that she needed a man who could provide for her. And I tried my best to be that man. Soon luck smiled at me. At one presentation, my project attracted the attention of a very powerful investor who agreed to erect a building based on my design. It was like a bolt from the blue. Of course, I really wanted this very much, but at the same time, I understood that this was hardly possible. But it happened. I will be involved in the construction of a futuristic building of the future. It was a triumph. Liza was also happy for me and began to treat me even warmer when I began to earn much more. And all these years luck continued to smile at me. There were other significant projects that were successfully built. I was satisfied with my life and was ready to meet with Lisa a happy old age. Our children were already adults. I provided them with a good education and helped them find their place in the sun. Now there was plenty of time to worry about Lisa and myself. We went on various trips. I gave Lisa incredibly beautiful jewelry. She had a whole room with these decorations. She was very proud of this collection. At one point, I somehow began to notice that Lisa completely stopped having sex with me. She tried in every way to avoid intimacy with me. Yes. We were not young, and I molested Lisa much less often, but now I constantly got rejected. Lisa didn't say much. She has a headache or something else. This made me very uneasy. Then I began to notice how Lisa left the house without saying anything to me. I asked where does she go? But Lisa calmly replied that she was on her own business. Something was clearly hidden in her words, but Lisa, with her whole appearance, tried to make me believe that everything was in order. Soon, rumor began to reach me from my subordinates that my wife was cheating on me with young boys. I also said that this is nonsense. It cannot be. But more and more often I was convinced of the opposite, and I began to suspect Lisa of treason more and more. But how to check this? I decided to send her a lover according to the type that she might like. I found an interesting agency that provided services of this kind. I was picked up by a very young guy. I looked at him with a mockery. Could she really cheat on me with this? But he agreed to conduct this experiment. The guy was wired and the film crew was nearby, so I could see and hear absolutely everything. Their chance meeting was set up quite successfully. Lisa was buying a latte at her favorite coffee shop, and the guy allegedly accidentally knocked the drink out of her hands and bought her a new one. Much to my surprise, Lisa really took notice of him. She smiled at him. The guy boldly talked to her, offered to walk if she does not mind. And Lisa happily agreed. They walked around the park for a very long time and the guy suggested that she go to his hotel room. He needed to take something in the room. If she didn't mind, they could go there together. Lisa agreed with this as well. I was pretty nervous. Was my whole life really connected with a deceitful creature that is cheating on me? In the hotel room, the guy offered Lisa a drink. She agreed. They drank a glass of wine, and then the guy began to pester Lisa, and she just waited for this. Attacked this guy like a hungry dog on a bone. At that moment, I burst into the room. Lisa was in shock and did not understand how I ended up here. I said, "So it's all true. Are you really cheating on me with such youngsters?" And then my wife said, she began to tell me nasty things, that she was already sick of me, that I was no longer young. And in general, she would take a decent amount of money from me in a divorce. I didn't believe my ears. It was as if I were not talking to Lisa. It was a completely different person who looked at me angrily. I turned around and left, slamming the door hard. Of course, I never thought that this could happen, but still I had work done in advance, would not allow anyone to take possession of my property. I wanted to take revenge on my unfaithful wife, leaving her without a penny since she never really worked at all. After making a couple of calls, I began to prepare for a divorce. Apparently, Lisa was already rubbing her hands before the court, thinking that she could get a lot of money so easily. But her smug smile was erased by the judge, who concluded that she would not get any of my property. Lisa was shaking with anger, but I had another surprise for Lisa. She was just about to leave in a hurry to another country. This creature decided that since nothing burned out in court, she would take all the jewelry I gave her and live on them. I didn't stop her from doing it. From the surveillance cameras, I saw how she, like a thief, hastily dumped all these trinkets into a bag. I waited impatiently for this deceitful creature to leave the house. There was another surprise waiting for her, which my wife would reveal at any pawnshop she came across. The fact is that I hired a specialist who made fake copies, glass pieces that cost absolutely nothing. I knew Lisa would jump at this opportunity. But here, two bad news awaited her. That's why I watched this scene so calmly. I would like to see her face when she realizes that her plan has failed. Except for her lying tongue, she will have nothing left. Let him now go to have fun with young guys and a naked ass. I dedicated my whole life to her, and she betrayed me. And now for her betrayal, she will have to plunge headlong into poverty, and I don't feel sorry for her at all. She got exactly what she deserved. I sold all these jewels and arranged for myself a tour around the world where I felt like a free man. Yes. Sometimes, sad thoughts came to me, but I sifted them out with a glass of whiskey. Now I had many opportunities. I was divorced and free. From lies. Dear listeners, your support is very important to us. If you like our story, please like, comment and subscribe. It's very motivating for us. We need your feedback to improve our